What is going on, everybody? Today we are going to be doing the Terraria Expert Mode items tier list. Now, of course, because I'm saying everything in this video and it's just my opinion, it's all facts and you can't disagree. To get started off here, we've got Royal Gel, and man, on one hand, I love this item because it's just stupid. You just get to have friendly slimes and they follow you and they don't kill you. On the other hand, why was this ever a thing? I mean, I get that King Slime is a useless optional boss, but at least give him a useful accessory. I would have much preferred if Royal Gel made you jump higher permanently, or made you bouncier, or take more or less knockback, or anything except what it does. F tier. Shield of Cthulhu is a classic item. Some will say that it's a little bit overrated because movement with a grappling hook or various other accessories can oftentimes outclass the Shield of Cthulhu, but I will always love this item. I'm putting this in the S tier. Worm Scarf, possibly the least interesting but most effective item in Terraria. 17% increase to your defense and nothing else. It does nothing aside from that. Pretty good. Going in the A tier. Now we've got the Brain of Confusion. Listen, I'm a high IQ person, very intelligent and sophisticated, meaning I hate the Crimson. With that being said, I never really realized until recently, but the Brain of Confusion is just as good, if not better, than the Worm Scarf. The ability to just randomly dodge attacks is very stupid, but at the same time, you would have to be stupid to not use it. So, top of A tier. Hive Pack. The Hive Pack would be really good if every single bee-related item didn't become useless after like an hour or two when you beat the Wall of Flesh. F tier. Bone Glove is kind of similar to the Hive Pack in the sense that it is outclassed by most weapons pretty soon. It's not necessarily a bad accessory, it's just that it doesn't do enough damage to justify its existence. For some reason I have a soft spot for the Bone Glove. Maybe it's because I love Skeletron or I think the projectile is kind of cool, but there's no excusing the damage. It's very minimal, especially considering you're already pretty close to hard mode when you get it, so I'm not going to put it at the bottom, but it's going in D tier. Similar situation with the Bone Helm, although it is slightly better. To be fair, I've barely used the Bone Helm, so I could be wrong here, but I'm pretty sure it's about as good as the Bone Glove. Demon Heart. This is simply the undisputed GOAT of Terraria Expert Mode items because it just gives you more accessories. So if you have the Shield of Cthulhu and the Worm Scarf and not room for both, the Demon Heart just gives you room to have both of them. I'm very glad they added it to give Expert Mode a little bit of variety, going at the top of S tier, and just a spoiler, nothing's going above it. Volatile Gel is kind of like a mix of the Royal Gel and the Bone Glove. It's kind of useless, it's a little bit underwhelming, although I will say, compared to the Bone Glove or the Royal Gel, the Volatile Gel is a pretty decent Expert Mode item. It attacks automatically, so you don't constantly have to be attacking for it to work like the Bone Glove, and unlike the Royal Gel, it actually serves some purpose. The projectiles that the Volatile Gel sends out actually aren't that bad. I mean, they're not great, especially for where you're at in the game, but they aren't terrible, so C tier. The Spore Sack is in a very similar situation to me that the Brain of Confusion was in, where I would never use this item and I would think, the Spore Sack? Why would I ever use that? And then I actually used it and it was really good. The Spore Sack doesn't do the best damage in the entire game, especially considering you reach that post-Plantera part where your weapons go from 0 to 100 billion. But the thing with the Spore Sack is that it is very active, a lot of spores get summoned, and if you look at the damage, it is actually pretty decent. It's not the best, like I said earlier, but it's gonna take out pretty much every single enemy in the overworld, which is incredibly helpful if you're doing something tedious like building or mining. I'm gonna put it in the B tier. Soaring Insignia. I love the way this name sounds. It's very cool and mysterious. Oh yeah, we're talking about the accessory? It's okay. It sounds incredible, you know, you get infinite flight with all of your wings, except the problem is by the time you beat the Empress of Light, you're coming close to the end of the game anyway when there are great mounts, your wings basically last forever anyway, and you're never going to need to fly constantly. It is still a cool item, I like it a lot, and I use it most of the time, but I don't think it's quite as good as some items that are coming up, which is why I'm going to put the Soaring Insignia above the Spore Sack in B tier. Shiny Stone, Golem Drop, F tier. The Shrimpy Truffle. Now this is the item I'm talking about when I say there are better mounts in the game. The Shrimpy Truffle, it's absurd. It should not be in the game. At first glance you say, okay, it's a decent mount. I mean, it can take me across the world and it has infinite flight, but then you go into the water and you just start soaring, and then you realize you can use this accessory outside of the water and you go just as fast for like 5 seconds. Just look at how crazy this is. This is not regular speed you can get with pretty much every other item in Terraria. Terraria. You gotta be running on asphalt to even get something close to this speed. My favorite mount in the game by far, also probably my favorite expert mode accessory, or I guess you could say drop, I'm gonna put it right below the Demon Heart in S tier. Witch's Broom is also pretty good, although I will say that the addition of the Shrimpy Truffle kind of outclasses it. It's not terrible, it's still one of the best mounts in the game, but I'm gonna put it in C tier. And finally, we've got the 3 Moonlord drops: the Gravity Globe, the Suspicious Looking Tentacle, and the Celestial Starboard. The Gravity Globe has a lot of novelty, and I think it's a very cool item. The problem is, why would I ever use it when I have other accessories that make flight a lot easier? When you think about it, how many situations in Terraria do you really have where you have to switch gravity? It's probably like 0.5. C tier. Suspicious Looking Tentacle is kind of in a similar situation. It would be okay if it was earlier in the game, but by the time you get it, there's really no need for it. The Suspicious Looking Tentacle is kind of like a worse Spelunker potion. You know, it shows you where nearby ores and valuables are underground. The issue is, by the time you beat Moonlord, you're either going to stop your playthrough and move on, or you might do some post-game stuff, most of which doesn't require mining in the first place. With that being said, I like this eyeball a lot. He's very cool. B tier. Last but not least, Celestial Starboard. Not only is this one of the coolest sprites in all of Terraria, but they are pretty good wings. It's not really a wing, but that's how it gets used in your accessory slot, and that's kind of how it functions. Once again, it's kind of one of those things where it's just outclassed, unfortunately. Why would you ever use the Celestial Starboard when you just have the Shrimpy Truffle, right? But hey, it's still pretty good. I'm gonna put it in the A tier. Alright everybody, this is the official Terraria Expert Enemy Drops tier list. Make sure to say what you think in the comments, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.